Shoulder dystocia. I am not a medical professional. If you believe you are experiencing a condition, please speak with your medical provider. My goal as a holistic reproductive practitioner is to bring more awareness to different conditions and how holistic care can support the body to heal. We are going to look at what shoulder dystocia is, why this emergency is so serious, what to expect, what causes shoulder dystocia, what happens after the baby is born, and then I have some resources for you to kind of dig into yourself if you wish. What is shoulder dystocia? Well, this is a serious emergency where the baby's head will emerge. However, one of the shoulders becomes stuck behind the birthing person's pelvic bone. And so you can see with the name, this is where the name shoulder dystocia comes from. You're having the shoulder becoming stuck behind that pelvic bone, and the dystocia, which actually means a slow or difficult labor or delivery. So you can see where the name for this emergency comes from. During the pushing stage, there will be a short pause after the baby head appears. This happens in all pregnancies. However, if the pause is longer than 60 seconds long, the doctors or midwives may suggest that shoulder dystocia has occurred. And of course, it would seem this pregnancy emergency is more common during a vaginal birth. Although, did you know it is still possible for this to happen when having a cesarean section? So why is shoulder dystocia so serious? When the baby becomes stuck behind the pelvic bone, oxygen is depleted and the baby cannot breathe. The umbilical cord may be pinched or squeezed, decreasing that flow of oxygen and blood. So you can see here in this photo that I found, it actually shows the baby and how the head is emerged. However, that shoulder is stuck behind the pelvic bone. And it shows the umbilical cord and all of that. So you can very easily see how the baby is unable to breathe, how the umbilical cord will get pinched off, and just why this is such a serious emergency. So other potential concerns that the baby may experience can include the collarbone and upper arm being fractured, nerve damage affecting the shoulders, arms, hands, and fingers, brain damage, speech impairment or a speech disability, and most serious of all, death. The birthing person can also experience serious complications such as hemorrhages, tears, such as a tear in the uterus, infection, and nerve damage. Now, as serious as some of the complications that the baby and birthing person may experience, it is important to try to keep an open mind as much as possible and know that these complications are rare when dealing with shoulder dystocia. So within my research, I did find some information that I found fairly interesting, and so I'd like to share that with you. But again, I also have the resources at the end of this video, so feel free to take a look, jump in, and do a little bit of digging for yourself. So again, this I found interesting, and I just wanted to give it a quick share. So by 3 months old, 50% of babies who suffered shoulder dystocia would regain their function. And then by 18 months old, 82% of the babies who suffered from shoulder dystocia would regain their function. So you can see that jump within just 15 months, going from 50 to 82%. And if surgical intervention was needed, all of the babies were affected in one way or another, along with the fine motor skills being the main function with complications. What should you expect? If shoulder dystocia has been identified, the birthing person will be advised to stop pushing. Keep in mind, this is in her second stage, and this stage is also known as the pushing stage. So you can imagine this could be quite difficult for someone who is, going through their pushing stage, and then all of a sudden they get told, stop, you need to stop pushing. So having that support person there, whether it's your partner, a family member, the nurse, or maybe a doula, can be very beneficial for the coping process. The baby must be delivered immediately. Therefore, if you are having a home birth and shoulder dystocia occurs, the midwife would have to act fast to deliver the baby as quickly as possible. If the birthing person is expected to have shoulder dystocia, for example, because she has had experience with she experienced this with a previous pregnancy, she would likely be advised to have this next birth at the hospital, as shoulder dystocia would be more of a risk at this point. If shoulder dystocia has occurred, the doctors or midwives, after advising the birthing person not to push anymore, would then immediately call for specialists. And again, this is because this can be such a very serious emergency. They want those specialists there. So if anything goes wrong, they're there and they can take care of it. The doctor or nurse, or maybe even midwife, may ask you to switch your position, such as getting on your hands and knees, and other different positions. They may also press on your stomach, and this is to help dislodge the baby from being stuck behind the pelvic bone. After an episiotomy, now this is a small incision made on the tissue between the vagina and the anus, and this is done to allow the vaginal opening to widen. So after this occurs, the doctor or midwife would then insert their hand to help the baby free from the pelvic bone. In some cases, the baby's collarbone may actually need to be broken. Now, this is rare, and it is done to allow the baby to be birthed. A cesarean may need to be performed, and general anesthetic will be administered, allowing the baby to move back towards the uterus to be delivered via cesarean. So breaking the collarbone and a cesarean are both a last option for the baby to be delivered. So keep that in mind. Those two things are most likely not very common to see during a birthing experience. However, it is still a possibility. What causes shoulder dystocia? Unfortunately, this is something that cannot be predicted. However, some evidence shows that certain factors could play a potential role in the cause of shoulder dystocia, such as a large baby. If the baby is very large, say 13 pounds or bigger, the doctor or midwife may then suggest that shoulder dystocia could potentially occur during labor. There may not be enough space within the pelvis to allow the baby to move around easy and effortlessly, restricting the movement of the baby. The baby may be in a poor position for birth. This could be a posterior or even a transverse position. If the birthing person has had shoulder dystocia in a previous pregnancy, birthing multiples. So this could be twins, triplets, etc. Again, restricting that movement and space. Being overweight could also potentially play a role in the cause of this emergency, along with being diabetic. Induction and other interventions during labor, such as the use of vacuum extractors or forceps, could even play a role in shoulder dystocia. What happens after labor? Once the baby has been birthed, the doctors or nurses will likely take that baby away quite quickly. And this is to monitor the newborn. This is because during the experience of being lodged behind the birthing person's pelvic bone, it was restricting that oxygen. The baby will likely be closely monitored for weeks, again, to ensure there are no complications. At this point, the birthing person and partner may feel emotionally drained after having such an experience and then not having the time that's skin to skin with baby because of the much needed monitoring that would need to be done. The birthing person and partner may feel angry or even guilty, knowing there really wasn't much that they could do. Having a doula would be incredibly beneficial at this point to help support the healing process and just to be there to hold space for this new family, validating their feelings without judgment. The doula may also be able to offer other practices such as reflexology and or Reiki that support the body to relax and relieve stress, allowing the body to support healing itself. The birthing person may also benefit from physiotherapy, supporting movement, function, and she may also require some breastfeeding support. Because the birthing experience was long and difficult, the baby may not latch as easily as other issues arise, which can be mentally and emotionally draining. A doula can help to provide different community resources that would help support the new family in taking the next step in the right direction. The doula may also be trained in the different practices to support that movement and function along with breastfeeding. Reiki is a safe and effective way to remove stagnant energy or blockages that may be affecting the body, mind, and soul. Reiki can be done throughout the whole of pregnancy and after birth to help release any emotions that may be bringing you down. This can be incredibly beneficial after experiencing a labor with shoulder dystocia. As we've discussed, one can feel a range of emotions during this time, and Reiki would be releasing and helping to remove those stagnant blockages or that heavy energy that is just, again, bringing us down. Now, when talking about reflexology, it's a bit different. Since shoulder dystocia is not identified until labor has actually begun, however, after birth, reflexology can still help support the body in healing by regulating the hormones, removing stress, allowing the body to relax, and so much more. Reflexology can even be done on your new baby to support their healing. Again, very beneficial if they have been through the experience of shoulder dystocia, as this can affect their fine motor skills. It can also aid in better sleep for the newborn, and so much more. As a full spectrum holistic reproductive practitioner, I am a birth doula, and I am trained in reflexology and Usui Reiki levels 1 and 2 for fertility. And so, as mentioned, I did want to put some resources in here. This is where I found my information. These are all very great links, and I would highly suggest digging into them, taking a bit of a look for yourself, and doing a bit of research yourself. I do think it's important that we bring more awareness and we understand our bodies and what they can go through on a day-to-day basis and throughout pregnancy. So check it out, have a look, and see what you can find. Thank you for taking some time to learn about shoulder dystocia. I am Victoria, a full spectrum holistic reproductive practitioner. So as mentioned, I'm a birth doula, a reflexologist, and a Reiki practitioner. If you would like more information about some of these practices, or even what I do, check out my website, Holistic Health, Trust, Allow, Flow. All you have to do is scan the little QR code there and it'll take you right to the website. I've got all kinds of information, and you can even book a free interview with me to find out more. Don't forget to follow along on Instagram and Facebook, Holistic Health, Trust, Allow, Flow, and like and follow the YouTube page, Pregnancy and Your Body. I will be bringing more information to the table about what we can experience throughout pregnancy and so much more. Again, my goal is to bring more awareness to what we can experience. I believe it's truly important, so let's spread the awareness together. Thank you again for following along. I hope you all have a lovely day, and I hope the sun is shining where you are. I think I'm going to go spend some time in the sun where I am.